everybody tune in. I'm going to give everybody like 3 minutes. Tune in. I got one of my favorite ops here, so make sure y'all tune in, give him his flowers real quick before I introduce him. I'm going to let it settle. Let some people get in the chat real quickly. How was your day so far, Mr. Dwayne?
Not bad. It's been going. How about you, man? How was your day been going so far?
Relaxing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you had a relaxing day because I've been looking for a fight all day.
You really for? Oh, okay. Well,
As soon
asking you shall receive.
as soon as the ad came out, I said, "Oh yeah, it's on." I've been waiting. I want to see if you can convince me to say something nice about AEW. Even though we're going to be reviewing some things, I'm sure we'll get a chance.
You don't have no choice. You on this show, so you ain't got no choice.
You're absolutely right. So this. I can't wait to clip this off and show people. Like, can you believe I actually said something positive more than what I? You know, my usual line is when I say something about positive about AEW, it's that Hook is a gangster. That's my guy. Every week I made a vow. I said on the Wrestle Rum Now podcast, I'm gonna say something positive about AEW every week. And sometimes I look around and go, well, you know, Hook is a gangster.
Oh my God.
And that's what I walk away with.
We're gonna get into it. Okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome to All Elite with Keeks. I am here with the Wrestle Realm's very own, one of my favorite ops. Dwayne Allen, everybody put your flowers in the chat. Give him his flowers. Give the show your flowers. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show over there because I do subscribe. I do listen to them. So that's why I have him on here because he talk a lot of shit about AEW. So we're going to have him see if he going to talk his shit today to me. He can because he has before face to face. So...
Look, I'm not shocked. Listen.
He already has before, but so you know. Hey, Dwayne, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Let me take the opportunity to give you your flowers. I definitely appreciate what you do. When I met you at Black Wrestle Fest some time ago in Brooklyn, I was thoroughly impressed with you and all the other young ladies that were on the panel, just talking about women professional sports media. And like I said, I remember Brian speaking about you before and just hearing your story. So I think you're doing an excellent job, even though we're sitting on two sides of the fence when it comes to AEW. But as far as what you do and how well you do it, you do an excellent job of. So I'm more than honored to be here on behalf of the Wrestling Realm to, just kind of chop it up with you and kind of get into this is a different, like, I want to do something different, for once. It's easy to do the Wrestling Realm stuff because we do that every day. But to come to the other side of the fence and have this conversation, there's no better person to do it with than you. I mean, they're like the ultimate AEW fan queen. I can't even call you a fan girl. You call a fan queen because I've never seen somebody ride for AEW. I said, oh nah, this is ridiculous. And then you watch WWE shows just to troll. So I was like, no.
No, I don't. I'm a big Madcap Moss fan. No, I'm not. No, I don't. I watch for certain wrestlers. Yeah, I still support. Yeah, I just watch for certain wrestlers, but everybody knows I am the biggest Madcap Moss fan. Everybody knows that. I don't watch the troll. That's not me. I don't hate watch because
you don't tweet anything positive. You be like, well, look, all the I thought NXT was supposed to be at the top. I was like, come on now, there she go. If it ain't AEW, it ain't.
No, what had happened was I thought a certain person was a certain age. So I'm like, why is all these old people in NXT? That's the only thing I said.
Well, listen, you're not wrong because I'll say this quickly because I know you have an agenda. We got to get to the show, but that was kind of part of the problem with NXT, and I think that's what naturally what brought about change when Triple H made the adjustment. Say, look, at the end of the day, we had to make an adjustment. It's because we need to get younger. And yes, when I found out that Damian Priest was 40, I said the same thing.
Yeah, so man, I didn't know that. That took me off guard. I did not know. I'm not trying to throw no ageism, but yeah.
Oh no, listen, trust me, I get it. But we watched him in Ring of Honor when Ring of Honor was still owned by Sinclair Broadcasting here in Baltimore. And that's when we first saw Punishment Martinez. We had no idea his age because he's in excellent shape. But when I saw his age, I said, "Oh, he's not young. No wonder he's trying to push him. They got to get what they can out of him before he breaks a hip." But
but we gonna get enough about WWE.
I knew it. That's how you know what show I'm on. I was ready for it.
Enough about that. We're gonna get into AEW Dynamite, review Dynamite. We're gonna review Rampage.
Ooh. Wow.
Of course, I'm going to get into my women business, and the fans voted for the Goofy of the Week this week. So we're going to get into it. Dynamite the last week, we're going by last week, Dynamite. It was a
Okay.
lot of promos.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all particular, feel. So that's why I got you on here because
Okay.
we had this private conversation before about
Mm-hmm.
promos.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
it opened up with Jericho honors, not honors, Jericho's
Appreciation
Appreciation
Society.
Society
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, celebrating Chris Ocho.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like I've tweeted before, this promo, this segment right here was interesting because, like I have tweeted,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you the opportunity to watch Jericho actually observe. He observed each person that had the mic, from Anna Jay, from the big head boy that talked too much. I
He's
can't.
my
I'm
favorite.
sorry. I can't.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he mine too. Like he just observes from Daniel Garcia. Like he just observes to see who is actually improving and how he could help them improve. So, what did you think of that entire segment? And be nice.
No, listen. If there's one thing about me is I'm very critical, but I will always give credit where credit is due. First of all, Chris Jericho can do no wrong, but what you said is actually very true. It was a different dynamic this time to watch Jericho kind of sit back and watch some of the other guys take the reins. I think
Mhm.
as much as the Jericho Appreciation Society is not as impactful as the Inner Circle in regards to just accomplishment what they've done, it's by far probably my favorite group because I think we get a chance to see early on with this group more of their personalities, and that showed with that promo. I mean, I think it gives them excuse to kind of be over the top and entertaining in such a wrestling based product like AEW. Like
Right,
AEW is a hardcore pro wrestling audience, which is the alternative to what WWE is. WWE's primary is entertainment and using the sports to entertain versus AEW is trying to cater to a different audience. Well, not a different artist, but a section of the artist, and to have someone like Chris Jericho that is notoriously known to be able to do both, which is why he's a
right,
megastar. But to have this young group kind of take turns, and the thing I took away from it the most is that you're seeing the influence of Jericho on these guys, which is probably what you need for the lifeblood of any professional wrestling company and their individual careers. So it's
right,
fun to see a lot of these guys kind of get their chance to say, okay, these guys are like mindlessly following Jericho as sports entertainers, which is by far genius. And it's like it's kind of refreshing to see this side of AEW because this is the side of professional wrestling that I'm probably the biggest fan of.
yes.
I've been on both sides before, um, but as far as AEW is concerned, this is so different from what you usually see that I'm just enjoying every last bit of it, though.
He said four. Y'all, if y'all hear, he said four good things in one segment so far. He said four. The
Hell
way
must have
has
frozen
four
over.
good things he done said so far. That's four.
I can't believe it.
I'm
You threw
winning.
me into a wrestling conversation, so now I can't help but act right.
You gave me the four for four.
Uh,
You gave me the four for four so far, but I do
mhm,
agree with you. I'm glad that you said that because if you pay close attention
mhm.
with Daniel Garcia, he gives a little smirk.
Yeah,
With Anna Jay, you could tell he talks with his eyes. Like he
yeah,
makes some type of eye, like he hides his lips, but he talks with his eyes.
sure.
With Sammy, eyebrows. He'll either do this or he'll do that. One or the other. Like you just gotta pay attention to Jericho because he's not gonna be around forever.
Yeah,
And at some point it's time for y'all to elevate. But I'm gonna get y'all there, but y'all have to also make sure y'all put in the work as well.
sure. Yeah.
So that segment happened. Part of that segment, Daniel Garcia finally got fed up. They gave him a gift, the bucket hat. He ain't want it no more. They gave him the bucket hat. He don't want it no more. He was like, And then he did real good. He was confident in this one this time. And you could tell because, like I said, Jericho gave the little smirk when he was talking on the mic. So he talked his shit. He said what he had to say, which we saw was coming anyway. Because it was
Mhm. Of
this
course.
whole thing was building Daniel Garcia anyway.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was building him up from the start anyway. So Daniel Garcia is now about to get that big push of being one of the future stars for ROH,
Mhm.
which is the plan anyway.
Sure.
So you saw that, and then of course Bryan Danielson came out because that's his other son too. We having a custody battle.
Is that what we called it? We call it a custody battle. Wow.
Yeah, this is a custody battle. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the custody. Jericho's his mom. Danielson is the daddy.
How that's the crazy part is that's fairly accurate. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You might be right.
Yeah. Jericho's the mom. Danielson is daddy. So that's a flex in itself. Like you have one goat, another goat that is guiding you. That is a phenomenal thing to have in your wrestling books. Like, hey, I've been guided by Jericho and Danielson. Not a lot of people can say that.
He doesn't lose on either side. Like either way you win. It's a win-win situation. Yeah.
I know the kid is in him is very excited too. Like, oh, I can't believe you know, oh, this is so you had that happen, and then what's his name? Big Head. I call him Big Head.
That's the
Big
best
Head. Yeah, Matt Menard.
He is my absolute favorite. He grabs the mic. I'm like, yes, he's about to say something. I don't care what he says. His delivery is always on point.
Yes. I think that's why Jericho has him in jazz because he has great delivery. Mm-hmm. It's loud as hell, but he has great delivery. He the Meek Mill of AEW right now because he he loud. He just loud. Like he gets it. Watch out! Like he's loud. So yeah. Mick, you want to taste what? What is it? What is y'all talking about? What is y'all talking about in the comments?
That's what they say.
Hey, bro, what you got?
I'm like, what y'all talking about in there? Okay,
that's what Matt Menard says. I want to taste. I want to taste. Like, do you want some? You want a beef? You want a funk? You know what I'm saying? You want to taste?
Okay. I didn't know what was going on up in there. I'm like, what y'all got going on? Okay.
Shout out to my guy Taquan Williams. He was there too. He's hilarious. He's a staple in our show, by the way, bro.
Oh, okay. We got You brought the whole gang over here. Okay.
I needed all eyes on your product today. I said I need all y'all to come to the show. I need y'all to see it.
Kids on, I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, they end up having the match. I'm not gonna take too long on that match because that match was random. Mm-hmm. But Danielson did what Danielson did. We ain't gonna take too much time on that. Danielson did what Danielson did best. So next up after that segment, we had MJF. Mm-hmm. He cut his thing, but we had Wheeler Yuta cut his, and Wheeler Yuta sounded better this time than he did the last time. The week before, right? MJF kind of had him in a blender, but this time Wheeler talked his shit, and I think because now we kind of tired of the angle of how MJF is cutting because we've seen it before.
Sure. Yep.
We've seen it before. We've heard it all before. It's kind of losing. I don't know. How do you feel though?
Well, the thing is, it's like he's missing out on dance partners, right? Professional wrestling is all about moments. The wrestling plays a very crucial and main part to it, but it's about these moments, right? Mm-hmm. It's like MJF and CM Punk was so great because they knew that they both could deliver. They knew that they both could shoot below the belt. They could pour out their emotion. Anytime guys like a CM Punk or MJF get on that microphone, they make you listen and they pull you in. And that's a skills artist or craft. And it's like MJF is so good at it. And it's like with AEW, this kind of development process of trying to build and get new stars, he's lacking dance partners, right? We always enjoy the exchanges of like, let's go back to yesteryear. We always enjoyed exchanges between Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage because you knew they both could deliver. You want to see what Macho had to say, which is very different from what Hogan had to say, right? You want to see what The Rock was going to say versus what Austin was going to say. You want to see what Shawn Michaels was going to say versus kind of a laid back, more Canadian, violent way like Bret Hart. Like it's about having the back and forth exchange. That's what kind of makes it fun because you're kind of like this and you want to see what happens next. But with MJF being as good as he is right now, it's like, oh man, it can get stale. It's because you want to see the tug, you want to see the back and forth, you want to see good competition versus good competition, not just one guy burying somebody else because it's like, oh yeah, the fact that I like the fact that they're putting these young guys in these situations where they got to sink or swim, right? Yeah. You got to think with your feet in front of the live audience. You got to keep up. I'm not going to come down to your level. You have to come up to mine, which is what they're going to need long term because at the end of the day, it's still entertainment, and you got to be able to talk on that stick. You got to be able to you got to give people an emotional reason to be attached to who you are and what you're about to do. And I think that's one of the things that kind of captivated people about MJF early on, because like no one ever came to me and said, "Have you seen MJF what he does in the ring?" We said that about Ricochet, right? And it took Ricochet was one of the last indie superstars to be signed by WWE, right? When MJF immediately got onto the scene, you talked about his appearance, his mic work. He's not a big guy, but when he gets on that microphone, that brother will command an audience and he will pull you in emotionally. And it's like, you need to do it. That's why Jericho's so great, right? For the whole pandemic run of AEW, and it's, when it was just kind of like getting its footing, majority of what we kind of fell in love with that pulled us into these matches were the promos, because you had to talk to the audience at home and to the opponent in the ring. And I think that's what people are kind of looking for with MJF. Like, listen, don't put MJF in the ring with somebody he's going to destroy, because after a while it's going to be a one-sided argument. And then where does it go? So, I like the fact of what they're doing, and I do agree. I think Wheeler had to go back to the drawing board at one point, but this is much better than his previous promo. So I agree with you.
Being that he is tied with William Regal, so that does help a lot for him. I think
Regal used to do the promo classes and at the Performance Center. So it's like now you have almost like a personal tutor. Like at one point he was in a classroom setting, and now you're like, okay, he goes to another company, and now I have his ear every day. So it's like almost having a college professor that's now your private tutor.
Right. With MJF though, like with the AEW fan base, you can only give promos so much, because AEW fans are more of what can you do in the ring, and being that he barely wrestles, it can become very stale. Like, okay, all you doing is promos and you barely having matches at this point.
Yeah.
So I've seen most of that is the more of complaint as far as the AEW fans. It's like, okay, we heard you talk shit about our city, but you don't wrestle.
Yeah. EC3 had the same problem early in TNA. EC3 would come out there, he completely reinvented himself. He was kind of MJF before MJF did it better than him. And as Bruce Pritchard was saying on his podcast, and then the bell rang. And it's like, okay, now it's lost in translation. It's because when you're talking all that stuff, you got to back it up at some point, or at least tease it. That's one thing that Flair used to do back in the 80s, right? Flair made a name, like Flair became a legend because he would go to towns, he would get you all riled up, and then whoever your top guy in that particular territory was, he would let them beat him into almost an inch of almost winning the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, and then Flair would, find a way to cheat and win and walk away like he was the man.
Right.
And it's like that dynamic of what professional wrestling was. It's like the foundation of which still should be. But Flair used to go 60 minutes in the ring. He's going to come out for 20 minutes. He's going to do his interview. He's going to say his 2 cents before the match. But once that bell rang, he was the 60-minute man, as he brags about continuously. But it's like you kind of miss that with MJF, which I don't understand why with all the television time they have. But AEW has 100 superstars on their roster. See, I had to take a dig. I've been saying all this nice stuff all this time. I had to take a shot somewhere.
Actually, they have less than that, but okay.
Yeah, because they're cutting people now, aren't they?
Or they giving people the choice if they want to leave.
Or they sending them to AEW back. They didn't give my man Malachi Black a choice to leave because he loves yeah.
Malachi Black just said on Instagram he doesn't want to leave. He just want to take a break.
I'm not buying that. I heard, this is me, rumor and innuendo, all the guys who have spouses in other companies, they're getting a little lonely on the road. And it's not like AEW works a full-time schedule, but man, I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. I said a long time ago, the worst thing that can happen to AEW is if Triple H ever took over WWE. And by golly, here we are. But we'll listen. That's a
what about being an imperialism? Like running an imperialism is what?
I'm not here for philosophy. I'm just here for entertainment. Listen, no, I'm not going back to the classroom. You're not pulling me into that one. Nope, it's not about to get that deep.
Listen, I gave what I had to say last week. If you want to be like Bobby Fish, then by all means, because like I said, Triple H is not a dumb person. He's smart, and like I said, he can sell water to a well. So.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this real quick. I know we have to keep moving. Real quick, Bobby Fish. You did mention it last week. What did you feel about his take on what's going on in Impact Wrestling? And I say this because one, Bobby Fish is old. Like Bobby Fish is like 45, but he's not like Randy Orton 45.
No, he's 75.
Yeah, okay. See, yeah, I didn't say that. See, now you taking shots at Bobby Fish because he's
no, I'm not. He is. They told me he was 75 years old.
Bobby Fish is 45 years old. He's not 75 years old. He's not older than Jericho. But the reality is, he's not like main event 45. Like Bobby Lashley's main event 45. AJ Styles is main event 45. Bobby Fish is like still climbing. He's like, you're a grizzled vet, and yet he had to speak his piece. Did you see the promo that he cut in Impact?
I saw that, but my thing is, if that's what you always thought, why you didn't go to them at first?
Well, I don't know. That's a very good question. I think they all expected it to be something that it wasn't, or that one thing about AEW from the very beginning, and this is what we talked about in the realm early on. We said at some point they're going to be forced to change, and I'm gonna tell you why I knew that was going to happen. I said, because they have, ever since I saw the TNT logo on the side of their ring apron, I said, this is what happens when TV companies are too wrapped up into your wrestling promotion. Because after a while, the people in charge of the TV companies have too much of a say over your product. I learned only a couple of years ago, we used to get tired of seeing John Cena every time on WWE. And you figure out, well, what, maybe they just love John Cena. They don't care about nobody John Cena. Only to find out that it was a business move because Charmin said, we want our toilet paper to come on following John Cena. So they made sure John Cena started the show, he was in the middle of the show, and he ended the show. Because it was a business move. The business was not as popular as it's been in the past. So naturally, hey, if somebody's going to cut a $4.5 million check for 30 seconds.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is why Jericho's always on TV. Next! That's true, though. That's why Jericho's on TV all the time.
Your money makers are your money makers. It is what it is.
He said it, not me. I'm just saying.
Well,
so the main event we saw, there was the main event of Dynamite. Wait, make sure I just give them. Oh, we had Ricky Starks versus Eli Isom. Isom. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Isom. I'm not good at pronouncing names. Ricky Starks squashed that man. Just another dub to his roster that he needs to, pick him up to eventually start heading towards either the TNT card or the championship card, or All Atlantic. Never know. So we're just building Ricky Starks. Be patient.
It's just a waste. A waste of what? Because you got all this young talent, and it's like you have all these gorgeous titles. They have beautiful championship belts. I'm a belt guy, and it's like, why is Pac on freaking Dark every week? Like, you're not defending. What's the point? How many times did you defend that title? First of all, they have 50 of them.
He's defended it outside of AEW, and he's defended it on Dark. The All Atlantic Championship is basically like an opportunity, sort of like how they used to do it.
I'm waiting. Go to the kid. I'm waiting for something. Let's see where it goes.
It's similar to what New Japan was doing with.
See, now you went to a sore spot. Don't bring New Japan as
their title.
No, that's cheating. You can't do that.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm telling the truth. It's the same similar thing that they're doing with New Japan. How they are allowed to go to different promotions or indie promotions to defend the title. He's defended it outside AEW. He has defended it, I would want to say, at least 5 times outside of AEW. In Britain, in Cali, and he's also was like in the Eastern Coast. So if you don't know where he defended it, that's on you. But we're not going to tell lies here on my show.
I'm just saying, it probably would have helped as a wrestling fan if at least AEW would tweet out where he was defending his title, so at least I would know.
Or just keep up. If you're not a hardcore fan, then obviously that title is not for you to follow up. It's not their job.
I didn't realize that championship was just for hardcore fans, but I mean, I guess it is.
That's what Forbidden Door was for us. If you're not a hardcore fan, then that's your damn foul.
Did they make it that?
Huh?
I don't know. I guess they don't want to make as much money as they wanted to for hardcore fans.
It's doing pretty fine right now.
Hey, okay. All I'm saying is
Forbidden Door sold out. So what we talking about?
It wasn't better than War of the Worlds 2015 Ring of Honor New Japan. Yeah, we don't want to go there. Yeah,
we forgot. Okay, moving on.
That's what I figured.
We forgot. Moving on. to the main event, we had Chris Ocho versus Bandito. Welcome back, Bandito, to the AEW ring. It was a lot of people first time seeing them, and they liked what he saw. Mm-hmm. But if you want to see him at a much faster pace, make sure you support AAA.
Did we had this conversation before?
Huh?
Did we have this conversation before?
What?
It was a similar conversation about.
They gave you. Yeah. To the casuals, they gave you a video package because y'all cry too much. So he did the video package to all you casuals that cry and act like y'all want to keep up with wrestlers and y'all don't anyway, because the merch tells it all. But anywho, you had Chris Ocho versus Bandito.
Okay.
And Bandito did what he had to do, and I was proud. I was happy to see him work. And Chris Ocho made him look really great, per usual, as a vet. That's what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
And now it's circulating. I don't know how true it is as of yet, but he is signed. But I don't know if he may be signed back to the ROH side because he was former ROH champion. He shouldn't have never lost it. I was one of the ones in the ROH Supercard that was booing the other guy because I did not want him to win.
But you know why he won.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be the one, but
I don't know why. But I'll say this though. I think if there was one reason that even if I didn't like it, I respect Tony Khan at the end of the day, it's because those guys went under contract. Like you're not going to make somebody champions under contract. And like I said, Sinclair Broadcasting is in my backyard. So when Ring of Honor was, I don't want to say on his last legs, but on his last legs, Bandito and Rush were top guys. You know what I mean? And I remember I said something to you before when I was like, man, I believe it was Andrade and Rush was in the ring with, they faced somebody. And I was like, man, I was expecting Rush to kind of, speed up a little bit more because of what I was used to seeing. I used to watch him and Bandito tear the house down, in the last days of Ring of Honor. And Bandito is a tremendous talent that I think flew under the radar. But I think as good as he looked against Chris Jericho, I've seen better. I mean, Jericho's like testing his limits. He's like, I'm 51. I'm gonna keep up with these young dudes because he moves a similar pace to what Jericho did back in WCW. When Jericho was going against the Juventud Guerreros, the Rey Mysterios, the Eddies, the Dean Malenkos. It's in true Jericho fashion. Of course, him always constantly reinventing himself and pushing himself further to kind of still wrestle those type of. He has his Lionheart moments as he calls it. And no, I'm happy that Bandito got signed. I don't know what took so long for AEW to sign him in. I don't know what it means for Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor is a shell of itself because of just with the whole acquisition and all that kind of stuff. But Bandito deserves, he deserves that opportunity. So.
Well, in Rush's defense, like I told Brian, Rush was out a whole year because he was damn near and close. The curtains was almost called on him. He got sick, called a really bad infection from his leg, and it spread it throughout his body, and it caused him to be in ICU for a long period of time, to where his wife had to issue a statement, and she wasn't sure. Like she was saying, it's 50-50. We don't know until, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes God have bigger plans for you. That's and true. Woke that man up, and we see him in the ring. So he's getting there. Each match he's getting back to where he was, gradually. It just takes time. But like you said, like I tell everybody, if you want to see Bandito at a fast, because he goes at a faster pace.
Oh yeah. Yes. You're not lying.
I've requested, I recommended in my DMs. I was like, if you really, really want to see, he was on Triple Mania spring. In the match, it was him, Vikingo, Bobby Fish, Jay Lethal, and also not Dragon Lee. It had to be Dragon Lee. It might have been Dragon Lee too. That was in that match. I'm not sure, but I know he was in it. Okay. Phenomenal person, phenomenal wrestler too, especially at the ROH Supercard. He was fantastic, but of course, his opponent only goes by the rules, so he could only do so much. So, unfortunately. But yeah, so that was the main event, and also that ended with Jericho cutting a promo, letting it know that it's RO Jericho. Another smart move to make because they getting ready to get this deal for ROH to be displayed on a bigger platform.
Bluffing. No, he's not. I'm not buying it. Do you really believe that, or is that hopeful thinking? Because I think Tony is big smoke and mirrors. Now you would know because you know Tony personally, so you can get some insight on this.
In 2019, Jericho became AEW champion because they finalized the deal for TNT, and TNT wanted a household name as the champion.
Okay, got it.
So it's the smartest thing to do is put it on someone that a recognizable name.
Cesaro was good enough.
Claudio is not a recognizable name like that. Jericho is. Sting
does no wrong. I would okay if Sting was Ring of Honor champion. I wouldn't even care.
I wouldn't have been against that either.
Sting does no wrong.
I didn't forget Mox and I did.
You did. I was waiting. I thought you were saving it for last.
We'll go. Well, he's AEW champion, so we'll go into it, I guess. Moxley versus Juice. I probably forgot this because I was doing something in the middle of this, and I forgot what I was doing, but I know I was doing something.
You probably was watching the Moxley match to put you to sleep.
No, we ain't gonna. Now I'm not saying all of that.
It's just because he boring. Does he not? Let me ask you an honest question before we go forward. Does he not wrestle the same match against everybody?
That's his style, brawl style.
No, come on now. You got to be able to tell multiple stories. Jericho, you're a Jericho fan. You're a Jericho fan. You're a Jericho fan. We watched Jericho for 40 years wrestle every different type. He's doing it now.
Because he's been in every different type. Moxley ain't been in no Mexico. Moxley ain't been in no fucking Canadian.
What you think he was doing before he got to the E?
Yeah, he wrestled brawl style. Yes, he wrestled brawl style everywhere he went. Like, he faced an opponent that can wrestle that type.
And that doesn't get boring to you?
Nope.
Okay. To each his own. But I'm just saying, I've never been a Moxley fan. I just want to put it out there.
But ain't you a Triple H fan?
I am a Triple H fan.
Okay. And Triple H, he wrestled different ways?
Big time.
He did?
He wrestled according to who he was in the ring with. The same match he had with The Rock wasn't the same match he had with Stone Cold. The same match with Undertaker wasn't the same match he had with Roman.
Like, I mean, because
I'm just saying,
because certain people had to wrestle a certain way against Triple H because Triple H couldn't keep. All right, moving forward.
No, okay.
Because if we want to go there, watch WrestleMania 19 against him and Booker T and see Booker T carry. I ain't never seen Booker T carry a man that hard like he had to carry that man, but.
Sure. I mean, I listen. I'm not saying all of Triple H's matches was great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. When I say I'm a Triple H fan, I like what he does, but it's not like I don't defend every match he has because he's had a couple of snoozers. Randy Orton and Triple H at WrestleMania 25. That was a letdown. But see, look, I say negative stuff about WWE too, right? I'm unbiased. But let's get to it. Moxley versus Juice Robinson. What? Did I say something wrong? Triple H and Randy.
Yes, you did.
The build-up was better. He ran in Randy Orton's house with a sledgehammer. He chased him down. He threw him on the front lawn. And then, after Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, who wanted to follow that? I'm just saying. Something to think about.
So if you're going by that logic,
okay, go ahead.
Then there's nothing wrong with what Moxley is doing.
It's nothing wrong with it, but I get tired of seeing it. We just had this whole conversation about MJF on the mic.
I know.
It's the same way with Moxley in the ring. Listen to me. The dude can sell you something. He can cut a promo. He's another guy, and I'll be remiss if I didn't mention him. He can get in that microphone, and he can make you feel what he's saying. But unfortunately, the bell rings. You're going to get brawl. He's going to scream. He's going to look crazy. He's going to do his little Moxley thing. And it's like, come on, bro. You don't got nothing else in your bag.
Okay. All right. Since you saying, okay, because I've heard y'all on your show, and you specifically always be impressed with Roman Reigns, and he do the same 3 fucking segments all match.
We never liked Roman.
Same thing.
We never liked Roman, and we never liked him. The only time we've liked Roman Reigns is because literally he did something different. Seriously, listen.
No, he don't. He do the same 5: punch, kick, spear.
That's not true.
Whatever.
I'm gonna tell you what I used to complain about Roman Reigns to that point that you just made. That used to be my complaint with Roman. He does little things now in the ring that he didn't used to do before. He would sell you the faces. He would talk underneath his breath. He would say certain stuff. And I said, that's what I need in those matches, because at the end of the day, it's about the moments. You're an entertainment company. I don't need you to go down there and do 5 stars. You're not Daniel Bryan. That's not what I need from you. Your job is to build up a match and make it explode. That's what Hogan did. Hogan had 5 moves, but he would do Goldberg couldn't wrestle with forgotten that. He gonna body slam Hogan, and Hogan's gonna get up and turn to the side and shake and quiver, and the fans are gonna go nuts. Roman does those things now. He didn't do those things before, which is why we never liked him.
To be fair though, he had to, because Trips was taking all the indie people. And when you take all the indie people, you gaining indie people fans. So I mean,
you're absolutely right. It does, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's an excellent point. It does raise the level of expectation from the fans watching, and I think, and that's how NXT kind of booked itself into a corner, because once there were no more independent superstars, we talking about guys that spent 10 and 15 years on independence. It's like now you got to start from scratch. AEW snatching them up, and so was WWE. So listen, I understand it, because when Roman first got pushed, to your point, it was Daniel Bryan. He was the indie darling that had turned into a king, and we wanted him. And they would give us a little bit and say, okay, now we got to get Roman ready, and the fans wouldn't go for it, which is why they had to change. They had the Yes movement, they had the protest, they had to change the WrestleMania segment. So you make a very good point, and I don't see anything wrong with it, because at the end of the day, it forces the guys who are stagnant to step up. Unfortunately, I don't feel Jon Moxley has to worry about that, because he's in AEW. Who's going to take his spot? I'm just saying, it's something to think about, Keeks. That's all I'm telling you. Think about it. It's just something to think about.
Unfortunately, it's going to be Scarf Boy, and that's going to make me mad.
Well,
unfortunately.
That's what we call him, Scarf Boy?
Yeah, that's what I call him.
You talk about me, though. You just below the belt a lot. You call him Scarf Boy.
I love you. I don't talk about you.
You say some things. I'm like, wow, this is what we doing. And your loyalty to AEW. I think you and Tony Khan have private dinners and conversations. And does he fly you on his jet to Jacksonville?
You accuse you what?
I'm asking, do you guys have creative meetings or something? Because you come back with intel. You come back like you tweet as if you know what's going to happen next. And I'm like, I don't know what's up with who she's talking to backstage, but apparently
I pay attention to detail, Dwayne. Okay. I would never. Wow.
I'm just saying that's okay. Listen, if you say you pay attention to detail, I'm gonna take your word for it. You pay attention to detail. That's all I'm saying. But I'm just saying though, that same energy.
We gonna talk.
That same energy isn't always. It ain't always there.
We gonna get on Rampage.
I'm just saying. You can't skip over my guy Juice Robinson though. Are you kidding me? Rock hard Juice Robinson.
You can talk
kidding
about
me? Have you seen his transformation?
You got. I'm a fit. Like, okay.
Bullet Club.
I don't have an issue with Juice. He can go in the ring. It's just something that I can't put my finger on it. He's missing something, and I just cannot put my finger on it.
Okay, that's fair. There's plenty of superstars that I see that I'm like, he's missing something, and but I think who he is now is more of who he is. They always talk about the best professional wrestlers are the ones that are themselves with the volume turned all the way up.
Yeah,
and I feel like who he is now is kind of more natural than who he's tried to be. He was kind of like the LGBT guy early in his career, and then he became like the hippie protester.
Yeah, he had a lot of changes.
He kind of changed his name and carried that gimmick to Japan, but now this version of who he is, I'm like, you know what? And him being in the Bullet Club, I'm like, I don't know. It might be his look, it might be his ring gear. I'm a ring gear kind of guy. Like, you need to have the right ring gear, but I don't know, But I think Juice Robinson is one of those up and coming young talents that's trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
I put guys like him. Look at him. Look at that guy. Rock hard Juice Robinson. Look at him. You kidding me? That guy's a star. I don't know how tall he is, but I think that's the best version of himself. And I think if we keep getting that, and crazy part is, as crazy as I say it, I think he might need AEW. You know what I mean? I think he needs that United States television exposure because of the way New Japan is booked differently. Their audience kind of looks for the competition of the sport, and then that's what makes Bullet Club so different. But you think about it, they do majority of their promos before and after matches in like press conferences or the post matches. You know what I mean? And you don't get to see all of their personalities, but you know, AEW, I think they need each other, but at the same time, I don't really trust AEW and how they've been booking their young talent to even trust them in AEW at this point. So, but I just want to put it out there. I didn't want you to forget about Juice Robinson.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna look at it differently from what you just stated. So next time when he is, I'll just look at it from what you're saying. Well, because appreciate that does sound about right too.
It's just that's one of the things I've noticed. I was like, they don't get a lot of time to show it. Like, think about it. I don't, once again, I hate to keep diverting, but we're gonna have this goddamn conversation. We've been waiting to have this AEW conversation for a long goddamn time. Lance Archer, nobody ever booked Lance Archer better than AEW did. Nobody. I'm talking about, and Lance Archer is not new. I'm talking about from when he was in WWE, when he was Lance Hoyt in TNA, even when he became the Murder Hawk in Japan.
Yeah,
he didn't talk. He just had a different look. He was big. Even when he was in Killer Elite Squad with Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith. But when he got to AEW, I'm talking about the packages, just the way they build him. Jake the Snake Roberts. I was like, yo, this is the best I've ever seen him book. And then they dropped the ball. And I'm just like, come on, man. This could have been your first AEW monster. This could have been one of your monster staples. This could have been your Braun Strowman. You don't got to put the title on him. Just keep him dominant. And of course, they dropped the ball. And I'm like, dude.
Well, we got Powerhouse Hobbs right now. So
no, cut it out. It was supposed to be Wardlow. It was supposed to be Lance Archer. Wardlow is getting that push. That's my guy. I got that TNT title is perfect. Like, I have a replica TNT championship. Yes, I'm saying it live in front of everybody.
To be fair, he did get injured twice. Okay.
And yeah, out of sight, out of mind. That's probably one of the worst things that can happen to a professional wrestler. And I know Jake was out, and the pandemic did play a part in a lot of that stuff. But you know, I think that's one of my biggest disappointments. When I see stuff like that, it makes me not like AEW. Like, that's like so many missed opportunities. Like Lance Archer, I've never seen nobody book that way. And I think bring it full circle. I think Juice Robinson probably could benefit from that type of exposure too, though. But it's hard now because there's so much talent in AEW and there's so little talent to go around. So
you're right about that.
Give my guy Juice Robinson his flowers while he can still smell them.
Yeah. Put your juice emojis in the comments if you got a juice emoji for Juice Robinson.
What's the juice emoji? I don't even know what that is. It's like a cup
or some type of juice or something. Put like apple juice or something. Put some apples on there. I don't know. But we're gonna get into Rampage.
All right, Rampage.
Because I gotta get to my women business segment.
Okay, I'm waiting to hear this.
Yeah. Rampage. It popped off with the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It was a three-way match. We had Private Party versus Butcher and Blade versus The Acclaim. And this was actually a great, fun tag match. It was a good tag match, in my opinion. And Private Party improved a lot in this match. I know 2 episodes ago, I had said that they just need to work on certain moves because they were still kind of lacking a little bit. But this match, it definitely brought the best out of them. And of course, I'm a fan of Butcher and Blade too, so I enjoy anything that they do. They're great opponents.
Which one lost all the weight? Is that Butcher or Blade? Which one is that one?
It was Butcher.
Don't he look 10 years younger?
Yeah.
So, yeah. My question is about this. I understand it because you want to give these young guys the rub. I'm not buying Private Party at all because they don't look believable. They got to eat some steaks or something. And it's like they give it off like Hardy Boys Shotgun Saturday Night 1998 at 12 midnight. Like, I'm
weight shaming. Why are you weight shaming?
I'm not weight shaming, but I'm saying this is the professional wrestling business, and like you got to look the part. Like, we call it a spade a spade. I appreciate they're young, and I appreciate them trying to get a rub, but that's what AEW Dark is for. My question is, don't you think this match would have been just a little bit more entertaining or a little bit more like nail biting if Swerve and Keith Lee were in this match?
It was down there. It was. It did get to that point.
I don't deny that. I'm not saying those guys aren't talented. I'm not a fan because to me they're too young. I'm like there's nothing about these guys that make me go, these guys realistically have a chance to win this match. I mean, isn't that why we have matchups? You don't put when you put Chad Gable in a match against Big Show, there's no way in the world you think Chad Gable has a chance. Now, if it's Kurt Angle, it's a different story. But it's like, to me, there's too much of a disconnect with Private Party. They're like young slim guys versus you got heavy hitters like Butcher and the Blade, like powerhouses, and then you have the newly crowned tag team champions in the Acclaimed, and it's like, and then you got Private Party. It's like, well, what are they here to do? Flip, do a couple of moves, get the crowd hyped. But do I realistically think they had a chance to win this chance? Of course not.
It's interesting that you said that, because what you're saying now is what people said about the Acclaim 2 years ago.
Sure, that's fair, but it's like, that's why it was 2 years ago, because they needed time to develop and get over. But they look like contenders, though. They always did. People were confused about the Acclaim because they were known for more what they were doing. The conversation was more about what they were coming out to do with the rapping and all that kind of stuff, and even with Max Caster and some of his controversial lyrics. You know what I mean? And that kind of got overshadowed by what they did in the ring. But they were new faces. Naturally, when you have new talent, new faces, it's like it takes time to get over. So the 2 years were necessary. In 2 years, you think Private Party is going to look? If they look the same, am I supposed to believe like, oh yeah, these guys are? How small was Rey Mysterio when he first started in WCW? You remember he was a cruiserweight.
I don't think it's nothing wrong with them. Like,
I don't think it's
you don't
like they wrong too. But how am I? They're not realistic. Supposed to be like, okay, this is the show that's supposed to be all about the wrestling. This is supposed to be the real show, right? But then you get these skinny young dudes come out there, and I'm supposed to believe that, oh, these guys got a shot. Now, see, when the Acclaim did it, people didn't think they had a shot, but the way they performed in the ring, the fans got behind them because they were like, oh, snap, these guys might actually beat them. When, like you said, 2 years ago, nobody even thought Acclaim would be in that spot. They were almost like a gimmick tag team. Mm-hmm. But they looked and they dressed the part. You put Private Party in a match with the Acclaim right now for the tag team championship. Do you really think anybody's gonna get behind the Private Party right now?
They ended up doing that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay,
during that, like I'm saying, during that match, because it's a lot that's saying the same thing that you have said.
Sure.
So putting them in that match and allowing them to show that they are improving, that they are trying to, perfect, because I've had the issues with them as far as they in-ring work, because like I've said before, it was like 3 episodes ago when I said that when they had the match against Lucha Brothers, and they was messing up certain things that that Lucha Brothers do. They was adjusting really slow and all of this other stuff, and they picked it up this time for this match. So we just have to give them a chance. That's not fair. You calling them skinny?
That's fair. I'm just saying, like, they just don't look the part to me. I'll be honest with you. That's how I felt the way about Swerve. When Shane Strickland I first saw Shane Strickland at MCW, and they were like, Brian's like, hey, look, man, that's Shane Strickland. He's cool. He's like, yeah, he's like this, and I'm like, him? I'm like, come on, man, like
the Shaka Khan and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, like he was. I don't know if he was. No, he wasn't facing Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy faced Luke Hawx at that show, but Shane Strickland was coming to face somebody. And I was like, I said, he's cool and all. I said, but realistically, are the fans really going to get behind him if he doesn't kind of build his frame at some point? And realistically, he did, And it's like, he got himself in better shape. So by the time he got in the ring, he's not an overly big guy, but his wrestling style matches his frame. That's what I'm saying. Like Private Party, they look like cruiserweights, and they wrestle a kind of like, I don't want to call them spot monkeys, but they wrestle a very high octane style. But then you put them in a match with the Butcher and the Blade. Like, those are contrasting styles. And don't get me wrong, it makes an interesting matchup and it's fun, not taking nothing away from it. But realistically, do I really watch that? Say, okay, I'm like, okay, no, let's see how they're gonna beat those guys. I'm not saying, hey, they might got a shot to beat them. I'm looking for the realism. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but that's just me personally. I'm like, Private Party, I just don't think they're ready yet. But what you said,
I respect it.
What you said was true, though.
I see what you're saying. I respect it because I get it, because that's how people felt about Darby Allin too. Which I get.
And see, I felt the same. I wasn't a huge fan of Darby when they first came out there. I didn't get him. I said, what's this? And they're like, oh, he's like Jeff Hardy. I said, because he flips off stuff and he's painting his face. I mean, I'm not buying off that. But then it took I remember I got into it. I didn't get into it, but I disagreed with Britt Waters on her show, My Wrestling Opinion. And She's like, you don't like Darby? I said, who, like, what does he do? Like, who cares about, like, what difference does he make? And it wasn't until he got with Sting that I just began to understand him more. It's because when I saw his mannerisms with Sting, I would look at him and look at Sting and go, oh, okay, I get that. And that's what you need sometimes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was feeling the same way with Private Party is because they were kind of doing the same thing as the Street Profits at one point, you know. Okay. And I was like, well, I don't really like the Street Profits either because it's like I don't want to keep seeing these black guys dancing and all that kind of stuff. Like it's nothing great in the ring, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Okay, I got you.
I'm always harder on black wrestlers because I'm like, yo, I want everybody to be on Booker T level. Like Booker T to me is like the epitome of what a black superstar has been in our business. Right, as far as the males are concerned, right? On the females, and I want to see a Jazz. I want to see a Jacqueline. I want to see somebody with that level of talent and intensity on both sides, on the mic and in the ring. So it's like you can't just put somebody in front of me and expect me to like them. And it's just like, come on, man, you a brother. You got to be better than this. You got to be better. I want them to push, and it's just like, I'm not just going to like. I've seen what good wrestling is. I've seen guys go. Look at the Hardys. Look, we watched Hardys on Shotgun Saturday night, looking like the Young Bucks. You know. Job guys losing to S.A. Rios and too much every week, which would eventually come to cool, to becoming megastars, like you said, 2 years later, because they changed their look. They got bigger. They got paired with the Hall of Famer Michael Hayes. They started jumping off ladders. They started doing different things. And I just think those things make a difference long term for superstars. And that's just the way I feel about the Private Party. You know, I like them a lot. I just was like, come on, man, just, you know, put them in a good. Look, we got some people. Like, just put them in a better situation so they don't look like. They look like two wrestling kids. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I know that's not why they're there. They look like two guys. It's like, oh, we're just trying to get a shot. We're trying to get better. Like, I can watch ROW for that. I can watch reality wrestling on Booker T's promotion in Houston, Texas. You see that type of talent there on that level, but it's a smaller audience, so it makes sense. You got this big audience, this big AEW, like just almost conglomerate, you know, with TNT and TBS, and then you put them in a match with Butcher and the Blade and the Acclaim. And it's like, okay, so why are you guys in this match? I know you guys need the rub, but aren't you supposed to look like you're trying to win? Or at least are a contender like the Acclaim did 2 years ago? I'm just saying, Keeks, it's something to think about.
To be fair,
mm-hmm.
If you follow Isaiah Kennedy, because he does do the blogging,
sure,
that is his personality.
Okay. If that's who he is, I'll be check into it.
But I get what you're saying, but it's kind of not fair to think that way because you have to remember all black people are not the same. Like everybody is different.
That's true.
Everybody is different. Some people be wilding out. Some people are extra serious like Booker T. Some people are not. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying, but then I'm like, being that I do follow the blog that he does, the social blog, it's like, because you say you want him to do this, and I'm like, Isaiah Kennedy really, literally does just goof around. So I think that's just them, but it can be a way to kind of where, because even with as you compared them to Street Profits,
yeah,
they turn it on and turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming, is that what you're looking for in them, or
no? I'm gonna tell you what ruined it for me. The New Day. 3 black guys that are happy-go-lucky. They're fun, but when they get between those ropes, they've mastered how to separate that to the point where they didn't have to stop being who they were. I remember Big E talking about it extensively. He said, "Look, this is who I am. We don't want to be stereotypes. I don't want to have to be the big, mean black monster guy. Like we got Bobby Lashley. That's one, right?" Mm-hmm. And they were able to intensify what they did in the ring.
Okay.
And they were able to separate the two. So it's like, well, I can still come out there and do my dance and do my little thing and wiggle. Right. But once that bell rang in between those ropes, he wasn't in the ring doing this. It was down to business. Same thing with Woods. Same thing with Kofi. Like, you know what I mean? And I think I'm waiting for them to, and it's going to take time. But like, in all fairness, I'm not bashing them. I'm saying this is where I am with them right now. And this is what I want for them going forward. I want them to be able to separate the Private Party gimmicks versus what they do in the ring. And they're not the only ones, because I'm going to go ahead. I told you I'm an equal opportunist. Mello Hayes in NXT, to me, has the same problem. He has this overly like, yeah, I'm swagged out, brother, dude. And then gets in the ring and like, brother, you got to be a little more hard hitting. Is because you got to learn to separate the gimmick from your like it's possible. Before it wasn't, right? Doink the Clown had to be a jokester in the ring because outside the ring he was a clown.
Right.
Makes sense?
Right.
The New Day have shown like, oh, so wait a minute. So you can do all this goofy stuff and twerk and put on unicorns and do all kind of stuff that you might get made fun of. But the reason it never came off that way, because once that bell rang, the New Day was completely different in the ring. And I want to see that for our Black superstars. I don't want them to be like, R-Truth is another one. R-Truth is world renowned for a reason. Like he's on the back end of his career. But if you look at R-Truth from the years on up, he was one of the latest Black NWA World Heavyweight Champions during his time in NWA Impact, in NWA TNA. You know what I mean? It's because he would come out, he would rap, he would dance, but that bell rang, and he was a whole different animal inside the ring. And I don't want our superstars to get caught up with the stereotypes or their gimmicks or the characters inside of the ring, because to me that takes away from their talent, and it almost boxes you in as far as what you can be going forward.
Right.
Just something, once again, something to think about.
That's a good point of view to say. Yeah, what he said. I'll let you have this one. Yeah, you got one. I'll let you got that one. We gonna move on to then it was the backstage segment. The ass. I know y'all been complaining about me not being team ass boys. But I am this time because that promo that they cut against FTR. Any FTR slander is good with me. So
you don't like FTR?
FTR is one of those.
I want to hear this one.
FTR is one of those people. They have everything and they still not satisfied, and it's annoying at this point.
I've never seen you be so unbiased about AEW. Is this where you do this? Because on Twitter you don't act like this. So it must be in this safe place, in these four walls.
Yeah, this show is this is the safest place for AEW fans.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you said it, because it's true. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, you got like 3 titles and y'all acting like it's just not enough, and that shit is getting annoying and it's getting on my nerves. So Ass Boys cut a promo, and now I'm team Ass Boys.
I've always been a fan of the Gun Club. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I've been following what's the youngest one's name? Austin Gunn for a minute since he got started. And then I remember when Colton Gunn came out of nowhere, and I was like, where did he come from? And it was crazy because I watched them on Steve Van Vliet's show. Mm-hmm. And Colton was pretty much talking about, like, he wasn't into it like Austin and Billy was. And because I remember when they first started traveling and stuff, because Austin was wearing his father's gear, early on. Mm-hmm. And Colton, they said it's such a natural. He just jumped into it and they just became the Gun Club. They come out dressed like Shawn Michaels in 1991. So I'm always for that. But Austin Gunn is one heck of a personality. My problem is just he's on the short side. I feel like that's going to pitch and hold him at some point. But I love the Gun Club, and I wasn't ready to see them separate from their father.
The Ass Boys.
It was kind of organic. It was almost time. You know what I mean?
You got to say the Ass Boys.
I'm not saying that.
Why not? You got to call them the Ass Boys.
Like, I don't like it when you call them that. Like, to me, they're extensions of the New Age Outlaws. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to. New Age Outlaws is my favorite.
You got to say it on this show. Say it.
It's not happening. I'm not
speaking to the brush.
I'm not saying that, because you got that brush like you dying at Ross right now. Like, it's there. But FTR, help me understand. What do you think they're looking for? It's because this is what I was afraid. So look, Malik, this is what I was afraid of with FTR. They have a lot of CM Punk in them to me. It's like, we give you the world, you have everything, you had your chance. You can't. They came to AEW. Mm-hmm. This attitude was, we're going to make tag team wrestling cool again. Let me tell you why I knew that was going to be impossible. I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast, 83 Weeks with Conrad Thompson, no plug. And he said, you know why tag teams aren't put at the forefront? It's because financially it's a burden. It's because financially you have to invest the same amount of money into 2 superstars, and you might only get the return on that investment for 1. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's why historically, who's one of the top tag teams in WCW? You don't really know. It was either Harlem Heat that was hot, or it had something that the tag titles were always wrapped up in the NWO WCW storyline. It was no pure tag team that was known for being a top tag team because
Dwayne, you're gonna wake up Shantice because you know she coming in the comments. She heard WCW.
Look, I was just downstairs talking to a few brothers about WCW before I got up here. That's why it took me forever to get upstairs to set all this stuff up. But you know, he said historically, financially, it just doesn't make sense. It's like it's not a personal thing. It's just that sometimes if your tag team doesn't have a lot of personality, where you can get a return on each investment, it's like it makes no sense to push them. And they were like, no, we're going to make tag team wrestling cool again like it was in the 80s, brothers. Y'all need to give it up. It's because tag teams in the 80s worked differently in the 80s because of the way television was consumed.
Yeah.
Right? You had regional territory. You can be over in your market because you had separate television. This is 2022. You have national syndication. You have on-demand. People don't even consume TV the same way they used to. It's not going to be popular. It's because you guys are traditional tag team. Traditional tag team wrestling is not popular.
Yeah.
So you guys are so arrogant, thinking, no, let's put a 5-star wrestling match on. That's not going to make you money anymore.
Say that again. They are so what?
You said so what?
What you say? You said they are too what?
Old school.
No, the other one. What's the A word? You just said it.
I don't even know what I said. I said it.
You said arrogant.
Oh yeah, they're way too arrogant to keep thinking that we're gonna make tag team wrestling better again because it's us, bro. Nobody cares about that. And you have to find a way. Like I'll give you an example. WWE has done a masterful job of it. It's because they recognize let's not push tag teams for the sake of tag teams. Let's take two tag teams that are vying for the title, give them good matches, because that's the foundation of the business, is good wrestling matches. But now that those tag titles are caught up in a more important storyline.
Right.
WCW did the same thing. It's the same blueprint. This is what I'm talking about with your boy Tony. Certain things don't need to change. It just works. Right? WCW, this is Triple H being a student of the business, because WCW did it all the time. They were never known for tag team wrestling, but every week it was a hot potato. Oh, and it was some drama behind it. Kevin Nash was with Sting, and they wanted tag team titles together, but then Sting beefing with Kevin Nash because he's not joining the NWO. So now Kevin Nash got to find a new partner, or this time the Giant beat Kevin Nash and Sting for the tag team championship. But Lex Luger was supposed, like, it was always this drama, but it kept you entertained because, one, you got your tag matches, and yet the titles were always involved in these important storylines. We knew Hogan was going to, whatever he was doing, we knew the struggle between black and white and black and red at one point, but it was never like, let's see a 5-star tag team match. Only thing you was worried about as far as your wrestling in WCW was your cruiserweight matches. Your cruiserweights are your workhorses. They kept you locked in until you was worried about what? The main reason that you watched the show, the story, the struggle between good and evil, the struggle between WCW and NW. Same thing with the bloodline right now in the Usos. They got all these issues, and on top of that, they're also the hunted.
Dwayne, it is enough WWE references.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to help AEW out. You talking about why FTR is not doing what they're doing, and I'm explaining to you this is what they need to do. And yet they like, no, we're an old school tag team, and tag team wrestling is going to be cool because we say it's going to be cool. We're going to put on a 6-star match. Okay, so what? Big deal. Where do you get your money from? Now, if you pay attention to the bloodline, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying. Yeah,
that's a record show. I just want to say, like I told y'all, even though WWF won the war, WCW won the battle. Okay, if you look at modern day wrestling, most of the format from both sides, and Impact and New Japan, they all following WCW. If you've been watching WCW since a young, you know what I'm saying, back then, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. I
want to disagree with you, but I can't.
It's the truth. Everybody, if you know the real know.
AEW's fine. We don't need. Listen, Sean. Let me talk to you directly, buddy. Look at Sean. Okay, Sean. Nobody wants. I understand AEW is supposed to be an alternative, but AEW is wasting. They're wasting their opportunity. No other company has had this type of capital and
opportunity for what though, Dwayne? They are pleasing their fans. They don't need to please y'all.
They're not pleasing their fans because because you know why? The wrestling business isn't built on pleasing fans. It's a business. You have to make money. I mean, if Tony Khan, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying this. If Tony Khan sat there and said, "I'm not worried about nothing but building our fan base. I'd have said, okay, I respect that.
He has. He said it multiple times on Busted Radio. He has said it. He has said it on Busted Open Radio many times. I am concerned with my fans. I was trying to please the casuals, but I'm not. There's no casuals. The casual fan base is dead. Everybody knows this. It's proved when they was at fucking Rolling Loud. Nobody knew who none of them people were. They was asking for Attitude Era people. They wasn't asking for no Roman, no Bianca. They don't know who these people are. They only asked for, where is Jeff Hardy? Where is The Rock? Where is Triple H?
And guess what?
Being that he knows that and he sees that casual fan base is dead, we please our own fans. WWE, y'all. Because of people are stuck on their childhood, they're not going to WWE go. So please, fans.
He's lying to you. He's lying to you. You know why? Because Chris Jericho is the Ring of Honor champion. And guess what? You know why? Because those TV deals call all the shots. And he knows
to have their deals, but it's not for casuals. So if people watch ROH or ROH fans, they're going to end up still watching ROH.
No, they're not. You know why? Because our Ring of Honor was regional. Nobody watched ROH in the first place. That's why they went out of business.
But yet they had the most buyout this year.
Yeah, because we're in a recession. You're not coming with
no, that has nothing to do with that.
They're in the financial bad
because it was tied into AEW. It has nothing to do with the recession. It was in the recession last year, and they only had what was it, a 1,500 buyout last year?
And guess what they said? We got to sell this thing in the next 6 to 8 months because we're not going to last much longer. We're losing money at this point. I'm just saying, it's something to think about. Tony's full of hot doo-doo. He's lying to you guys because guess what? He has television executives to answer to, and not just one. Remember, there's a Time Warner. There's a merger going on. There's a major buyout. Discovery is not trying to hear any of that. He has to make new friends. Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's what
which is why they gave Jericho the title.
You just made my point. Why? You just said why? Because you know what? Listen, no, that's not what you're saying. What you just said was that is bull. He's not catering to his fans. Yes, he is. Look how he's booking shit. Where's that gotten him? Fans are fickle. Did you not hit Daniel Bryan a couple years ago? Fickle. Fans will turn on you. They don't care. Fans will turn on you in a heartbeat. That is the worst thing you could possibly do is cater to your fans. That's the worst thing you could possibly do.
No. Cater to y'all. WWE fans are fickle. AEW fans are technically not fickle. AEW fans just not with the bullshit. Y'all have to read the fans. Y'all don't read the fans. Y'all think because of how WWE fans move, it's the same how AEW fans move. It's not. Because if that was the case, this promo shit that I was talking about, that shit would have won them over. We don't care about that promo shit. Why do you think they don't care about CM Punk no more?
Keith, that works for the live audience. That doesn't work at home. Because guess what? You guys lost the demo. Y'all used to listen to me. Here's the proof. You ready? When AEW came on, who killed 18 to 49? AEW.
They still winning that demo.
No, they're not.
Y'all control the old folks and the kids demo, but the 18 to 49 AEW still got the 18 to 49 demos.
18 to 49 is not even being run by wrestling anymore. Like it's in a bad spot. You know why? Because they have to answer to television executives. That's all I'm saying. I'm not buying. Listen, I think there's a hardcore fan base. I don't deny that one bit. And I think he does cater to that fan base also. But there's a side of him that says, I still want to be the best. And I got to go to where the audience is. And
why he got to be he has 4 things going on. He don't need wrestling money, baby.
I agree with you. But Tony Khan shouldn't run his mouth. He started.
He don't need wrestling money.
I agree with you. I don't think it's about the money. I just think it's for kicks and giggles. He's a kid.
No, he's a hardcore nerd too.
But it's to his detriment, though. I think because you know why? Because guess what? He still got to sit there in front of Discovery. He got to sit there and sit in front of Turner, and he has to come to a compromise.
And he did.
Listen to me. If I was a betting man, I agree with you. Don't. I'm not disagreeing with you. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't be surprised if you begin to see more changes because of what Discovery and Time Warner may be looking for going forward. And at that point, what are you going to say? Tony Khan is still catering to the fans, or does he have to cater to those who write the paychecks? It's just something to think about.
Discovery already just came out and said they are pleased with what AEW is doing. The only time they had stepped in was that CM Punk and Kenny Omega and the Bucks shit. Other than that, as long as the money is rolling, as long as that 18 and 49 is coming in, they are fine with it.
That's not true.
You know why? Like you want them to fail to me.
No. I want you to accept the fact that Tony is not. He's not telling you guys the truth. You guys are drinking that Paul Heyman Kool-Aid from 1996. You know why? Listen. You know, I'm gonna give you one more example, and I'm gonna leave it alone. You ready? This is my next example because I'm just not buying it. You know why? What did they just change recently about the language on AEW? What was passed down from television?
What shit? That's it. But they can still say bitch and they can still say ass.
No more middle finger. See, those words really aren't considered cuss words, but all the other ones.
Jericho just did the middle fingers to Bandito.
Right, because it's Jericho. He's untouchable. When you're the champion, you're untouchable. Jericho's smart. He worked with Vince McMahon for 20-something years. He knows that when you're the guy, they're not going to say nothing about the guy. That's called diplomatic immunity. He knows what he's doing. He's a veteran, and you know this. That's your guy. He plays the chess game. Jericho knows what he's doing. But watch. Don't be surprised if more things get passed down and the product starts to change. That's all I'm saying. Tony can tell you guys he's catering to you all he wants, but in the back of his mind, he knows I got to go in this meet with all these television executives, and I got to meet them halfway somewhere. Something to think about.
I'm going to move forward before you piss my fan base off.
This is what I to do. This has been great. This is exactly.
I'm going to move forward on Rampage.
Oh, burn this place down.
Yeah. Then you had the Firm Lee. I call him Frank Ocean.
Why do you give people new names like that? Like I name people too, but you're not even trying.
Frank Ocean versus Fuego.
Okay.
Del Sol, and he crushed that man. Made a statement. This is his like in-ring debut as a heel.
He does.
So I think that fits him really well. The heel role fits him really well. He squashed that man. We don't have to take too much time because that was one of those type matches.
Thank the good Lord.
And then you had the main event, Dark Order John Silver versus Roosh. Roosh took the victory on this one. Roosh was not with that bullshit on this one.
That's my guy.
And I like John Silver anyway, but yeah. What did you think about this match? I know you talked about Roosh being a little slow, so what did you think about this one, his performance on this one?
I agree with you. Trust me, like I said, I'm a Roosh guy. He was one of the last Ring of Honor champions, that we got to, see every weekend, every Sunday, when they came on TV. But I think he is getting back to form, in all fairness to what you said, because I don't think I was privy to, all his ailments and stuff like that. I just knew he was out. Right. But when you put it in perspective, you're like, okay, all right, well, that makes sense. It's not like he looked bad. It's just that I didn't even blame who he was in the ring with. But it looks like this is like, the beginning of let's rebuild Roosh. I think he's a tremendous talent. You know what I mean? I think he is on that level. And I think AEW needs guys like him. John, the Dark Order, man, rest in peace, Brody Lee. It's nowhere near what, in my mind, what I assumed it was going to be. But there's elements of the Jericho Appreciation Society in it, what that's kind of morphed a little bit into what I felt like the Dark Order was supposed to be, kind of a dark satire of Vince McMahon and the way he runs WWE and his style of running things. And then when Brody passed away, and of course, it's just become a gimmick at this point. John Silver's a tremendous talent. Don't get me wrong, and I would never take it away from him. But I liked how. To me, it was all about Roosh. Andrade is a different story. We're not going to get into that, but I like how the good thing about AEW. This is one of the things I do like about AEW is when you're a fan of somebody and what they did before they got there, you get to see a bigger version or an extension of that character or their personality on a big stage, which is what I enjoy the most. Which is why like I said, I'm gonna keep having these sidebars. Which is why I wasn't upset when Adam Cole went to AEW. And at one point, I wanted Pete Dunne to go to AEW. But since things have changed, I'm happy where he is now. But this is the version of Roos that I like to see more of.
Yes.
I want to see him a little bit more dominant though. Like I want to see him have a string of these type of victories.
Mm-hmm.
Just so when he was in Ring of Honor, I don't know if you paid attention to this or you had to really look at. He was a very serious guy. Like he was a dominant performer in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was such a perplexing superstar because he's not a little guy. Like he could physically dominate you, with his grit and his muscle, but he could keep up with anybody in the ring. You know what I mean? Him, Dragon Lee, and Bandito. Like that was to me, that was like the big three, big four if you want to include Matt Taven in that last run of Ring of Honor before things kind of went left field. And
not you with the throwback.
Like I said, like Ring of Honor was in our backyard, so we got privy to that every weekend. It didn't take you long to catch up on what was going on in Ring of Honor, but that's when I became a fan of Roosh. When I liked Roosh a lot then because of how he was booked. Because like I said, we saw him in AAA, but Lucha Libre is different. You know what I mean? That's a different type of wrestling. So to see him kind of like in front of the American audience and what Ring of Honor had become, with all the indie guys that became superstars, and they kind of kept the format. It's just that a lot of those guys didn't transform into superstars, and that's no disrespect to the talent like Josh the Goodwoods and Jonathan Gresham and those guys, because they were all, like I said, tremendous talent, but they didn't have this overall presence that guys like the Adam Coles and the AJ Styles and the Kevin Steens and and these other guys kind of had before they kind of left Ring of Honor. So Roosh was one of those guys that if you weren't familiar with him before, you kind of got a front row seat to who he was. And I was like, man, I like him a lot. And I didn't think he was going to be signed with WWE because they had Santos Escobar, they look very similar. And I know, especially during the McMahon era, he was always.
Dwayne, you know him? He said a Cali backdrop with a jacket.
Oh, it's breezy in Cali. It's when it's down to about 60 degrees, and plus I got the air on in this California.
He can wear what he wants.
Yeah, it's I got the air to keep the germs out. So of course, that's what we do in California. But see, you wouldn't understand because you're not from California, so you don't know. But you hear what he said?
He doing this. He mentioned this conversation, but times 10 in person because we was going back and forth. But
the crazy part is though,
he being nice right now.
Sean is trying not to. He knows I'm making sense. That's why he's trying to work it. No, he's like, wait a minute. He sounds like he's making sense, but no, it's not true because it's like, no, dude, it's okay. Just listen. Just buy into what I'm telling you because it's the truth. All I'm doing, this is what the wrestling realm is known for. This is what we do. We try to offer a different perspective, a different way of looking at it. That's all it is. But that's how I feel about Roosh. And I'm happy to see him be able to do that in AEW. Now, I'm not holding my breath because Tony and his booking stuff, I don't know who's supposed to be next in line. And I'm gonna say this right now. I got an attitude. Vaughn, that's not true. This is who I am. But
yes, he is.
I got an attitude because I'm sick of seeing Pentagon Jr. in tag team matches. That is a former Impact World Champion. That is a former world champion all around the goddamn world. I get Death Triangle. I appreciate it. I love the guys. I love Ray Phoenix Jr. Why is he not in the title contention? Why is he not coming out there when they say who's next for a championship is him? Why is Roosh not coming out there doing the same thing? Like
Pentagon said he's at the point where he's wrestling for fun.
The nigga swung his body to the side.
He said it. It was in Spanish, but he said it. He's wrestling for fun.
Bro, are you serious?
Yeah.
No. Like, why?
Because he feel like he accomplished all that he wants to accomplish. He's just wrestling for fun, helping Dante Martin be where he needs to be.
No,
and that's it.
I don't want to accept that. Like, think about it.
I'm with you on that, though. I'm with you.
Just go with me for a second. Listen. Y'all got me down.
I want him as TNT champion one day.
Y'all got me down this AEW rabbit hole. So let's just go with me for a moment. Imagine we sit a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. CM Punk gets suspended, whatever the case may be, and we got to name a new number one contender, and they put out that whole thing. And instead of seeing the same faces, Daniel Bryan and Jericho and Sammy, imagine if Pentagon Jr. comes out and he goes, "Cero, miedo," he does his little thing, right? No fear. He don't got to say a word. That's all he got to say, right? And then someone like Rush's music comes out, or even like a Wardlow. Same thing with Goldberg. Like Goldberg won the WCW championship as United States champion. Even if Wardlow doesn't win, at least tease the idea. Don't you think? And you an AEW fan, so
he wants to be the next El Santo.
Don't you think that would have been just a little bit more fun and exciting? Just the idea that this guy might even contend. Listen, I come from the old school. You don't have to win the title to be the guy. Just sometimes the excitement about the contention, like, oh, he might have a chance to beat him, even though they may have no intention to put the strap on him. But the matchup itself, don't you think that would have been that much more different and fun, especially when you already got a debacle in CM Punk? What's the best way to distract fans from your own issues? Just try something completely different and new, right? Don't you think it would have been more fun if Pentagon Jr. came out there, if Pac made it came out there on the other side, if a Roosh came out there on the other side, or anybody else besides the same old hits that we keep playing?
Yeah, of course. Yes, yeah.
That's because I respect these guys and what they've done around the world. To me, that's what made them who they are and why they're in AEW in the first place. Like, these guys are finally getting the opportunity to be on this big stage that probably was not there before. Right.
But you also gotta ask them too if they want it or not.
And you ask,
don't want to just press like, hey, we need. But like I said, Penta is trying to be the next El Santo of Mexico. He wants to do movies. He's having fun. He's an entrepreneur, so I mean,
your fans are turning on you because they're starting to say they're starting to speak like me now. Did you see a few comments? They talk about what Pentagon should have did now. I'm like, yes, I agree with you all.
See, y'all don't let Dwayne conflict y'all here. Y'all coming up in here showing out. Y'all be on my side. Don't be on his side. Y'all on my side right now.
Because I'm making sense. They're like, you know what?
Don't be on his side right now. Y'all on my side. He is wrestling for fun.
That would have been exciting. Like, I have to go back and watch old Penta match. Like, I watched. I don't think it was Defiant. It was something.
No, El Santo, not Rock or Cena. El Santo.
I sat there and watched Pentagon Jr. versus Pac at, I don't think it was Progress. I think it might have been Progress. And it was 24 minutes, and I was like, man, because I watch indie wrestling classes on my computer when I'm chilling, and I was like, wow, this is fun. It was the main event match, and the fans went nuts for it. And I'm like, why are we not getting these things on this big stage? You put these guys on Dark every other week. But that's just my personal soapbox, because I want to see guys like Roosh. I want to see guys like, not Andrade, because his pants look stupid. I'm a gear guy, so if you look stupid in the ring, like Claudio didn't deserve it because he should have wore trunks. And Andrade should wear his old gear because he looks like Beetlejuice. That's stupid. Pentagon, Roosh, Wardlow, just keep it exciting. Like, who is the next person that's supposed to vie for the AEW World title outside of the former WWE guys? I get that. Think about it. Even in TNA, it was always Jeff Jarrett versus AJ Styles. And AJ Styles was nowhere near on the level of Jeff Jarrett at that time as far as star power. But guess what? He was always in the conversation. That's what
why they building Ricky Starks.
No, Ricky Starks stinks.
Graham, I'm about to cut this show short.
You tell me right now, you can't find anybody else to contend. How long is it going to take to get Ricky Starks to that level? Realistically.
Ricky Starks do not.
But I have a lot more fucking money than Jim Crockett did. And I'm serious. I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
I'm going to sit here and say, put the Mr. Clark video. Hold on. Hold on.
You think you can control these young niggas?
Listen to me.
Let me get in women business first.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna, because
before we could say it, I cannot.
Go ahead. Listen. I came to disrupt, and I've done that. Because guess what? Your fans gonna be like, "Is Ricky Starks really the guy? You mean to tell me he's next?"
They in the comments confused right now about you saying that. But I'm about to get into women business.
His name is Wardlow. That's what you meant to say. Look at that Ricky Starks.
Vaughn, don't do that. Do not do that. Okay, let's get into women business. Graham, run that video real quick.
Go ahead.
All men should stay out of women business, because that's women business.
Women business time. I know y'all was waiting on me to talk about what had happened this past Wednesday. Soraya made her AEW Women's promo Revolution. She said a new AEW Women Revolution.
Saraya. She corrected us all.
Saraya. Sorry. Saraya. Or formerly known as WWE Paige. Sorry if I say your name wrong. Don't punish my mind or my heart. It's my accent. But she cut a promo. That's been the talk of this week. Not a lot of it was a hit and miss for me. But I kept it trucking because I got what she was trying to say, but she didn't say. You got to be careful. You don't want to react. Just take your time when you do certain things because all it takes is the wrong intention to come out, especially for women. It's easier to point out the bad than the good. So you just got to be careful before you do certain shoots or before you say stuff because even the back and forth between her and Britt, I don't know if Britt forgot to say something or somebody forgot their cue. But fuck it, we ball, we keep going. Just fix it next time. Don't do that no more unless y'all are fully confident of what's about to happen, or y'all rehearsed it, or y'all are one accord with it. You could tell it was a little messy. But like I said, fuck it, we ball. It's women business, and I'm gonna stick beside them. What's more important of what happened, also, we end up getting more time for the women, Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb in a lumberjack match. Saraya, I'm sorry. She called out certain women in the locker room. You had the faces and also the heels come out. So that was a good thing. It debuted the women. We needed more women on TV time. So that's what we end up getting. People been complaining, and we end up getting it. So it was more women on. Be quiet, Dwayne. Hush your mouth. So we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep him trucking. We're gonna get into the match because the match was actually a good match. Serena Deeb was working per usual. She was a dog in that ring per usual. She gave She gave two submissions. That I've really never kind of see her do before. She just be introducing new stuff. And of course, her and Toni Storm have good chemistry in the ring. So it was be quiet, Dwayne. I see your face. I don't like your face right now. Turn around. I don't want to see your face. Okay. And also, Devin said is Saraya. I'm not sure if she's cleared. Honestly, I wouldn't want her to be in the ring right now, to be honest with you. If she's more of doing like the backstage stuff and stuff that she's doing right now, I'll be more comfortable with it. Basically what William Regal was doing. If she does that, it'll fit. She doesn't have to wrestle. To be honest with you, I've never really was a huge fan of hers like that. I just respected, the movement. But as far as me being a fan, I've never really was a fan. And I'm just being honest with you. So I'm going to keep it real. I'm not going to be, oh my God, I was, not really. I wasn't a big, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? So one of those. So moving on to Rampage and women business. We had Jade and the Baddies did another segment backstage. And they are setting up Jade versus Nyla Rose. Which I am looking forward to it because they do have history that they never did go back to. And it was involving Thunder Rosa, if y'all don't remember from 2020 around that time. No, not 2020, but it was like 2021, early 2021. So if y'all don't remember, it's a good thing because like I've said, the actual agenda that was supposed to happen was Chris Statlander was supposed to be the one, but she got hurt. She tore her ACL. She had surgery like some weeks ago. So they kind of put that TBS rival on pause because what happened with Chris Statlander. So I'm not against Jade and Nyla. They can actually make a story out of this as well to keep it going. Just keep that lady away from Nyla Rose. Please keep her away. I tried to get her a chance. She's not improving. Nyla Rose is just being a babysitter at this point. But I'm not gonna keep too much. I'm not gonna put no negativity because it's women business. I promise to keep it positive. And last but not least, we had Jamie Hayter versus Willow Nightingale. Probably the match of the night to me. It was a banger. This was a banger. The ladies did a great job. Both of them had great chemistry. Both of them read each other. It was a great match all around. Willow Nightingale, she's a great face, great baby face. I love seeing her. I've seen her wrestle in person a lot. She's a great athlete. Jamie Hayter, great athlete as well. If you follow her, she was a dog at Stardom. So great. And Jamie Hayter won over the crowd. Jamie Hayter had people cheering for her. She had a big pop. People were saying her name. She could be the one to overthrow Britt Baker. People are tired of seeing Britt Baker as the popular one, but like I said, the math has the math. People are still buying Britt Baker's merch. She's the standout. So until y'all start buying and supporting these ladies in the merch and things like that, you're gonna always see Britt Baker on that TV. Like he said, I hate that I'm agreeing with him as far as the network shit, but it is true. If TNT is saying, hey, Britt Baker is making the money as far as the women's division, she's gonna always be on TV. Shut up, Dwayne. So that as far as women business, in my AEW Women's Wrestler of the Week is two of them. It's tied between Willow Nightingale and Jamie Hayter because they put on a banger. It was a banger match. The ladies did well. So it's going good for the new direction of AEW Women's division. Stuff to still need to be worked on. But as far as last year, this is a better year for them. This is starting off to settle into a better year for them. So patience, it takes a minute for the chefs in the kitchen to cook. So continue to be patient, continue to support women's wrestling. No woman is better than the other. Not just one promotion of ladies is more important than the other. Everybody just be patient, support them, buy they fucking merch, okay? If you want to see more of Jade on TV, buy her fucking merch. If you want to see more Willow Nightingale on TV, buy her fucking merch. Buy these people merch, okay? Especially these ladies, they need your dollars, okay? While y'all buying Young Bucks shoes, make sure y'all buy the ladies merch. And that's enough for women business. Okay, Dwayne, you can talk now.
Woo, man, I was over here struggling trying to stay out of women business.
So, Dwayne, who is your wrestler of the week?
The same wrestler it is every week. It's Bryan Danielson. That's right. There's the photo. There's the picture. Look at that man. He does no wrong. He does absolutely no wrong. It goes back to what you said. What he's able to do and what he's doing, we can like. It doesn't even matter if it was about this week. To me, it's a culmination of what he does every week. And I say, you know what? That's why this week he's my wrestler of the week. AEW. He's always my wrestler. AEW wrestler of the week. Outside of Hook, because Hook is a gangster. Shout out to the wrestling realm.
I'm about to start putting a ban on people saying wrestler of the week is Bryan Danielson because I feel like that's everybody's go-to. And
is he not? Is he not though? Like what's let me be fair. Stop it. Okay. I'm taking a step back. Let me be fair. Why would it take?
Because I feel like because he had a little squash match, that shouldn't count.
Okay, I'm being fair. This is your show. What will qualify in your mind as what makes you wrestler of the week? Because you have a women's wrestler of the week. Because if it was a women's wrestler, just a general if it wasn't separated, it would easy for me to be Willow Nightingale. That's no doubt with that. But because you
can still be Willow Nightingale.
I'm saying, but you separated them. It just seems like
no. I separated them because I am trying to shed light on them. You know what I'm saying?
And I was trying to stay out of women business. I was following instructions.
Okay, so follow my other instruction. She can be your okay. So his wrestler of the week is Willow Nightingale. It's not Daniel Bryan. Said no. That's too easy. Bryan Danielson. No. Willow Nightingale is your AEW wrestler of the week. Final. My AEW rest of the week is Bandito. Shout out to Hispanic Heritage Month.
I don't think
You know
that's how
what
you
I'm
say
saying? Even though he's not signed or whatever, but he stood out this week. He was the most talked about. And that's the most wanted, which he is. The hottest free agent right now is Bandito.
Is he?
He is. He is. Yeah, if your boy was sending texts and stuff while he was wrestling, then that is the hottest free agent right now.
Is that confirmed, or is that just like rumor and innuendo?
You know what? It is a rumor, but I'm gonna go with it.
I mean, I expect that.
It don't put it past me because he already trying to take over Mexico, Canada, and Japan, and he trying to start World War IV.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Oh, it's definitely coming.
No, Mexico ain't gonna go without fight.
He's gonna be on some beans type stuff. You better get down to lay down.
Yeah, now Japan and Mexico ain't gonna go down with a fight. Canada might give it to him with a silver platter, but the other two ain't going down without a fight.
No, because I think he tried. I think he tried it before in Japan and it didn't work out.
You know what I'm saying? Maricella's not going down without a fight.
You right about that.
I know that for a fact.
No, that's very true. Because they get a little.
It can get very ugly.
No, yeah,
we don't want it to get ugly behind no wrestlers now. It ain't that serious.
like we know gangster stuff stateside, but most people don't know gangster stuff in other countries. Like that they don't play around. They wrestling. That's different.
Well, and let's go with the Goofy of the week. The people have voted. Hold on, I'm gonna read out the nominations. Hold on, I forgot to send it to Graham, but I'm gonna read it out loud. I had the Goofy of the week nominations. The first one was the anti-chinos, and those was the people that was saying that AEW has now too many Mexicans.
What was that about?
Yeah, that shit was uncalled for. They mad because they reached the status quo or some shit. I don't know.
Nah, I don't do no racism.
Yeah, we don't. That they should have won the Goofy, but people voted. The second one was MJF Dizzy fans. If y'all don't know, I was going back and forth with a young lady on Twitter because she
do that a lot.
Yeah, I do that. But no, this was warranted this time because the kids have a way of trying to rewrite history of things that we've seen. She said that if you did not like what MJF is doing as far as being repetitive, then don't watch The Rock, Stone Cold, and she mentioned Ric Flair. And then they was trying to tell me that The Rock he did the same shit. And I was like, I was just like, all right, since we going that route, you saying to me, Rocky Maivia, Nation of Domination Rock, Corporate Champion Rock, People's Champion Rock, and Hollywood Rock, they was the same? This is what y'all telling me? So Friday, I've learned that The Rock was a repetitive promo person. That was my first time ever hearing that shit. Yeah, so I had to defend for the old folk. I felt my age was showing. I was like, now I was there. I've seen it. That man, first of all, like I said, he's a person, black or a person of color, whatever you identify him as, he had no choice but to switch it up. He didn't have that privilege of doing that, what they were saying. He couldn't do that. So MJF fans, y'all dizzy. Y'all should have been Goofy of the week, though.
These AEW fans, I tell you.
Yeah, I had to shut. Yeah, there you go. And then my other one was the haters of Paige drip. It was people hating on Paige because he had on pink. I want to say this: if you fine, you can wear whatever the fuck you want. Only fine men can get away with that. And Adam Page is fine, so he can wear whatever he wants.
Can I ask you a question before you keep going? What were they? Why were they upset that he was wearing pink? Was it because he's supposed to be a cowboy, or what was it? I don't know.
They don't even know. That's why I was like, why are y'all? Because he have on pink. You're mad because he's wearing pink. Okay.
You AEW fans all over the place. We got racism. We got haters on pink, and
people saying The Rock is this
repetitive.
I've never.
That's very true, though. Exactly. Like, Wow, that's insensitive.
And then the one that won, I put Jay Lethal just because. And the reason why I put that in because Jay Lethal is scheduled for another match that I don't understand. I'm tired of seeing him on my television. I'm tired of seeing Jay Lethal. So Jay Lethal is the goofy of the week. The fans have voted because we're sick of seeing him on TV right now. Give him a break. Yeah, he's facing Darby Allin. Why? We don't know. So he goofy. Goofy of the week is Jay Lethal. The crowd has spoken.
You know, Jay Lethal used to be one of the most sought after. Well, he used to be something special. he used to be something special, man. I was just watching his match against, I believe it was either Adam Cole, and then I watched a match with Jay Briscoe where he was carrying both titles, Ring of Honor World title and a Ring of Honor TV title. And just to see him now, it's just like, wow, you were the franchise of Ring of Honor, and now this is what it's become. You're not even contending for the Ring of Honor World title anymore.
It's not okay. I appreciate what he's doing as far as he does make the younger talent look good in the ring. So I do appreciate him for doing that. I appreciate, his in-ring work. He's phenomenal. He's a great wrestler. I don't take that away from him. I'm just sick of seeing him on TV. That's all. Like, I'm tired of seeing Jay Lethal on my TV. I don't want to see him for another 3 weeks. I don't want to see him for a month.
Wow.
Let him go home and take a break.
He should have went to Impact because he would have been way more appreciated over there than what you AEW fans are giving it. Jay Lethal was top guy in Ring of Honor. And for some reason, Tony.
People want to make money.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're absolutely right.
I ain't giving no money.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And he's
make money.
He's no spring chicken either. So I get it, but it's just like, man, I don't know. I don't think I ever got your take on what Ring of Honor, the way it was and what it's supposed to be now in AEW. But it's just Ring of Honor was a shell of itself before it went out of business. And now it's just like a property.
Before Trips took all the talent.
And what do you mean? Like, well, yeah, kind of.
He did.
I almost lied to myself. Like,
yeah. Y'all like NXT Black and Gold, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Tony Khan only bought Ring of Honor so WWE didn't get it.
Be that as it may.
Can I ask you a question? Why does AEW have so many titles, including Ring of Honor's titles?
No, I think personally, he got ROH for CM Punk at the time when everything was all gravy.
What do they need? Okay, why? Because I'm confused. Like, he wasn't the first Ring of Honor champion.
No, but before Jericho became the person that held all, the titles, it was only CM Punk.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was. It may have been part of CM Punk's deal to get him or something. Something was supposed to happen, and the fighting and the biting and shit happened. And
okay, yeah, that's not it.
I've heard y'all take with the CM Punk incident.
Okay.
But since we're here now,
sure.
Before we end it, what is your personal take on how you think the CM Punk thing is going?
It's tough. This is what I said before, and it goes back to the conversation you and I just had not too long ago, and I hope the fans will listen to it because this I love making them feel conflicted about what they've known.
Yeah,
there's a business to run. I think Tony Khan for the first time got put in a bad situation. It's because Tony Khan was trying to cater to his audience, and he was trying to capitalize on what CM Punk did. CM Punk's return to wrestling at AEW will go down as one of like the greatest moments in professional wrestling history on any side of the fence because of just the moment was organic. It was amazing. It was real. It was 7 years or 12 years, however long it was in the making. But at the end of the day, it was still 7 or 12 years too long. The moment was great, which is what the business is based on. We live for the moments.
Yeah.
But you get all the stuff that comes with CM Punk. CM Punk is a diva. And see, one of the things we should say about Tony Khan bringing in so many WWE guys. It's like they're bringing in guys that are scarred. They've been swimming with sharks for years, and they go over to a nice family friendly environment. They're gonna burn them up because it's a business. It's not the wrestling friendship; it's the wrestling business, as Matt Cardona says. You know, Scott Hall said, "You want to make friends, or you want to make money? I already got friends. I'm here to make money." And when you had that mindset, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to come and I'm going to work these guys for as much as I possibly can, because that's what the business has always been. It doesn't matter if AEW tries to create a new culture. Historically, that's what it's always been since its Carney days. So you bring that attitude. You know, they've always said he was a bit of a cancer to the locker room, not because I think he's trying to destroy things. I just think he likes to impose his will and his way of thinking on everybody. And if you try to go against him, he tries to make you seem like it's something wrong with you in the way you're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, in all fairness to CM Punk, that's one side. The other side is, I think CM Punk got exposed to what Ring of Honor really was. AEW has this reputation of being kind of the wild, wild west, because there's no real veteran structure backstage, right? Usually in established organizations, there's locker room leaders, there's a culture that's backstage that's kind of upheld by everybody that works there, not just the talent, but the producers, the executives, because sometimes those producers and executives used to be talent. So they all carry that same, you know, like we talked about, why was there not a wrestler's court? Somebody should have pulled somebody up. But you keep hearing the same constant theme in AEW's locker room. The young guys don't want to listen, and there's no one there to make them listen. So Jim Ross said he stopped trying. Billy Gunn said he stopped trying. There's so many people that says, now we're just here for the checks, and we're going to work with the people we can work with. But as far as the locker room community as a unit, it's kind of like, you know, and CM Punk felt slighted by Hangman Page's words, you know, because one thing CM Punk said was very true. He said, make sure the apology is just as loud as the disrespect. And when Hangman looked at him and said, what I did listen to you for, I think that's very disrespectful, because he wouldn't have done that in WWE. If CM Punk was in WWE and Hangman Page was over there, Hangman Page wouldn't have dared to do that, but he felt comfortable enough backstage in their atmosphere to be able to do that, and that just sent CM Punk down this rabbit hole. And I think, as much as he's anti-WWE, he is pro wrestling tradition, and he saw a lack of that in AEW, not because it was on purpose, it's because it's a lot of young talent. It's not a lot of old talent backstage that could establish these things.
But do you think that he felt entitled?
Absolutely, because think about it. He said it. You could be. He said it in John Moxley's promo. John Moxley said, "I'm the heart and soul of AEW." He said, "You can be the heart and soul. I'll be the dollars and cents." And he knew that. He knew his worth, and he knew what he was bringing in. And he knew that Tony Khan needed him. He needed his name. He needed his likeness. He needed his intellectual property, because CM Punk's name as a professional wrestler was a moneymaker. You know, let alone what he's able to do in the ring, but he recognized his worth. That's why he left in the first place. He said, I don't need the WWE. I know my worth. I've made my money. It's a business. I'm walking away, and I'm going to be happy about it. So it's like, now that CM Punk gets there, and he's like, wait a minute, I came over here to give you guys so much respect. And I mean, they have Jericho, but did Jericho do anything about it? He didn't do anything about it.
He wasn't there. Jericho had the when that was going on, he was doing the press. But I know that they said at the meeting he said a lot.
If Taker was backstage and he was not somewhere, and he found out, if Roman now, they're going to pull somebody up after the fact. It's like, no, we're not going forward until we figure this out. Because that's just the culture of the boys backstage. You know what I mean? And I think CM Punk recognized that wasn't there, and then deemed himself in that space now. You know what I mean? And I think he took it upon himself, like, okay, cool, there's no vets back here, so I'm the guy now. I'm the taker. And they were like, dude, who you just got here? Like, we've been here laying the groundwork for what's going on here, and now you come in here with this attitude of entitlement, like you're gonna. And I think they just bucked at him. And I think he was like, wait a minute, Tony, I'm making you all the money around here. Why these young guys not getting in line? They're like, man, we don't care who you are. Like, because at the end of the day, you weren't here, you wasn't with us when we were shooting in the gym. And I think those cultures just naturally clashed. Right? So now you have your money maker, and then you have your heart and your soul and your talent. And then unfortunately, part of that talent group is also 3 of your executive vice presidents. So he's looking at Tony like, Tony, you know I'm making you the money. I know I'm making you money. These guys are not drawn the way I'm drawn. Are you going to say something to them? And there was this just natural conflict, and the Bucks and Kenny Omega and whoever was involved in that scuffle decided they weren't dealing with it. They're like, man, okay, you're not. And to be honest with you, I can't say that I blame them. It's because if I start a company, right, and then you come in. I don't care what your worth is. Now you walk in there like you own a place. There's naturally going to be conflict.
Yes.
And Punk is known for doing that and not caring. You know what I mean?
Especially when you have people like Eddie Kingston back there. You have people of Adam Page is back there. Like, it's people that's going to speak up for themselves. Like, just because you can do that, you did that over there, don't mean that that's gonna fly over here. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying?
But the reality is CM Punk couldn't do it over there. That's why he got an attitude every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, we'll give you some rope. Because Triple H burnt him up in that promo. It's like, that's your problem. He's like, and it's the first thing people did was go back to that Triple H promo. He said, that's your problem. Guys like you come in and you think the world's supposed to revolve around you. And as soon as you don't get what you want, you think everything around you is wrong. When in actuality, you're in this for your own benefit. You're just trying to get out of it as much as you're trying to get out of it. And if everybody doesn't get on board, it's something wrong with the system. And I think that's what CM Punk, and if this was CM Punk 7 years ago, they'd said, okay, but they're like, man, please, you haven't been involved in how long? You're not going to come over here and dictate. And I think naturally that's where the conflict is going to, like you talking about grown men, you know what I mean? Like that's where the conflict is going to arise. And I just think with CM Punk's reputation, it just proved that everybody was right about him. It proved that Triple H was right about him. It proved that what people are saying, like, look, he's very conflicted. He doesn't mind conflict. You know, right. AEW had a very tight-knit, you know, backstage culture when it comes to the talent. But they're also younger. They come from the indies. They don't come from this strong wrestling tradition because, like I said, the veterans who were there said they don't listen either. So they just have to adapt to this new culture of this particular product, and you have to work within the system because at the end of the day, it's a business. I'm not here to change the system. Right. I'm here to contribute, make money. Like you said, it's a business, and help, you know, kind of be a part of the number 2 wrestling company in the world as it continues to grow.
Because you can't like result into hazing or the different methods that people was doing from years and years and years and years. That's not going to happen now because you can now get fired or, you know, things.
Yeah,
we're in a different time, different era now. So of course that's not going to be allowed. So I think from my understanding, the meeting that went on that took place afterwards when it was Danielson, Jericho, and Moxley that took over the meeting, they had to let it be known, and especially they said Jericho was more vocal at this meeting, letting them know, like, okay, I get that certain people, when they tell you to do something or their approach or whatever it is can, you know, mean, you know, it could probably either come off rough or you don't want to, you know, just different personalities clash. But This is still a business. This is still a job, and we have to do our job. That shit that happened Sunday cannot happen no more. That's embarrassing. Jericho said it, like, that shit is embarrassing. Like, no, that cannot be tolerated. People fight all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we done heard the stories of backstage fighting and stuff. Like, that what happened. When you work with other people that you don't work with, you know, conflict will happen. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's you have to talk it out, or sometimes you have to let it be known, look, I don't like you, I respect you, but I don't have to say 2 words to you.
There you go. Absolutely.
And keep it moving, keep it trucking. You know, you don't have to always be liked. You don't have to always get along with people. Just keep it respectful. Like we done heard stories where even when Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart didn't like each other, but you didn't see it in the ring.
Yeah, same thing with Taker. Taker said he's like, I was never a fan of him, but it was nobody I wanted to work with outside of him in the ring. So it's very possible. It's very possible.
But you can't see it in the ring. Like even Jericho couldn't stand Goldberg, hate Goldberg. I mean, you know, but I still got a job to do.
Sure. Yeah. I remember that. He was not happy about that.
It's different people.
They got a real altercation in, but they still
that was a real But it's different things. Like Batista done had his. He couldn't stand Triple H.
Booker T. Remember, he got in a fight with Booker T, and they had
but they still have a job to do. You know, you're not gonna get along with everybody. But for that to happen, I felt bad for CM Punk fans because, and I know Tony was, like you said, was put in a bad place because by his reaction, he didn't know what to do at that reaction, and he learned, you know, not everybody deserves a redemption.
There you go.
And like I've said, everybody knows since day one, I did not want CM Punk there. I didn't trust it. I didn't. Everybody know that. I did not want him there. By the 4th win, I already knew what was going on. I was like, okay, this man ain't changed at all. When he beat Penta, I said, oh, I know where this is going. I know what's going on. This man want to be champion, and he wants to be the one. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, CM Punk has to understand. We had Kenny Omega. We still have some stars that people are fans of, and I think him saying that made him a little bit insecure too. At the same time, like, okay, I thought I was going to be the guy. I thought I was going to take away, because like I told Cal on the last show, I saw it when he the one who revealed that Daniel Bryan was coming over and Adam Cole. Yeah, to kind of take away they moment, but it still didn't, it didn't change nothing. But some people just don't change, and unfortunately, he's one of the ones that he's self-sabotaging. Unfortunately,
I couldn't agree with you more. Everything you said was absolutely true, and it's just like before it was a rumor, but now it's kind of confirmed. Like, bro, you did this in 2 companies. Like, I don't think you need to go to a therapy to realize, you know what, maybe you were the problem. So. Well said.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you don't have to be the problem. Like, you've accomplished things that most people haven't, but you still feel this way. So you gotta dig deep on yourself, bro. There's something going on with you. You've been champion at WWE. You've been champion at AEW now twice. You know what I'm saying? So
he's had a very lackluster run in AEW. Summer Punk got ruined with injuries. It is like he's writing checks his body can't cash.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, his first match he wore pants. I was like, he looks actually really skinny. And I was like, oh, come on. This is what I don't like. Like, come in as the person that people miss, that people are looking for, and you come in there a shell of yourself, because, anytime somebody goes back to WWE, they get in the best shape possible because they know what stage they're going to be on. Kevin Nash dyes his hair completely black and blonde when he comes back to WWE. Looks almost 13 years younger.
Yeah.
Right? You go to AEW, guys just go to TNA and be fat and let themselves go but it's like when you come to a big stage, you're supposed to give them the best version of yourself. And when I didn't see that, I was like, I don't know what he can deliver at this point in the ring. He's going to give you a passionate promo. He's going to get you wrapped up in what he's saying. But I wasn't completely convinced that he was going to be able to, just to be able to keep up. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to. But, we got a couple of action figures out of it. Got some really nice T-shirts, some ice cream bars from it. So,
sorry, Chicago fans. He let y'all down again.
Whew, that's rough.
Y'all just gonna have to get over it. MJF gonna be the champion in Chicago. So,
do you think he'll smooth things over time? So give him. I don't know how long he has on his deal. I don't know if the rumors are true about him being bought out. They say all types of things. Do you think if you give it maybe 6 or 7 months, he goes, you know what? I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Took some time off. I got a different. Let me come and apologize. Do you think we could see him show up again? I mean, we watch MJF cuss Tony Khan out on live television, and now he's ready. He got a pay raise and he's ready to get the strap. So I'm like, well, look, I don't know. Do you think, if he comes back with a different attitude, and it's kind of whether or not he changes or not, but if he comes back with like, I'm sorry, I went about this the wrong way. Let me be the grizzled veteran to help these young guys, and Tony buys it. Do you see that potentially happening?
Nah, I think he burnt that bridge.
Okay.
No, I don't think. I mean, if he do it, I don't know.
It's a cash grab.
He could go one or two ways for Tony Khan.
Either way, it's a cash grab. You know he's not gonna give you no 5-star matches, but his name does carry some type of weight. You're gonna sell merchandise. You're gonna have great segments on TV. I don't know about the matches, but you'll be able to sell segments. It's a cash grab, but it's like, at what point is AEW in the space where they make the decision, hey man, like you said, we don't gotta like the guy, but he's going to bring something to us financially. Realistically, we can't afford to turn down any money. Not that AEW is hurting for bread, but at the same time, they're also a business. And if they can prove that they can turn a profit beyond what they're making, I mean, that goes well for your investors. Not really that AEW has too many investors, I'm assuming, but it goes well for your TV deals to show your television people that, hey, we have marquee names that are helping us in these demographics and these demos, which bring ratings, which bring you money, which bring advertisements. And it's like, well, it's a business move. So he's not well liked, and he may stay out the way now, but you know.
Well, they don't need that. They got Jericho.
Hey, okay. Well, listen, we can
And
ride
Sting.
the.
I forgot Sting. They
We
said
can,
Jericho.
listen. Neither one of those men could. You will never hear me. I don't care what company they're in. Even if it is AEW, you will never hear me say not one negative thing about.
Yeah. See,
Jericho or Sting. So
you got before we get out of here, you have any shout outs, anything?
Shout out to the rest of the room, my guys, Brother Hugh, Brian H. Waters, Brandon the guy. I ran into him at Walmart today. That was funny. But, shout out to you Keeks, of course, and then all your fans, everybody that kind of joined the chat. This has been fun. I'm always up for a good argument. If you want me to come in and show and argue with you too, I can do that. So, but it was a conversation long time coming. We do a lot of trolling on Twitter because good gosh, she loves AEW, everybody. But I just shout out to all the fans that joined the show and just you for what you do. Because we need more female content creators, especially of color, and especially one dedicated to a product like AEW. I mean, they need you. So they need you to have people like me come on your show and just help.
I like how you did that.
Help open up. I want your fans to just look at stuff differently. Like, so if they have a different vibe next week when you move on and we have to go back to our respective shows and they start questioning certain things, you're welcome. So.
Not you for slick put yourself over like that.
You could follow us at the Wrestle Realm at Wrestle Realm 2 W's.
Make sure y'all follow the Wrestle Realm. They are one of my favorite podcasts. I've been listening to them since 2019. So
yeah, if you don't want your promoter all up in the videos,
well, he can't do that. He got bigger fish to fry right now.
All up in the press conference.
All in women's DMs.
Come to Triple H's product over there at WWE.
Lord have mercy. If you want to watch over there, they burying Madcap Moss and it's pissing me off.
You can't keep pulling for the men that you're attracted to. I hope you know that's not like you can't. That's not a thing.
Don't.
Okay,
don't disrespect Madcap Moss like that. I don't like the.
Okay, one question. I'm just gonna ask you. This is it. I promise you. I'm gonna ask you one WWE question. Do you think Madcap Moss needs a gimmick change? Because this whole Madcap thing is like throwing me off. Like I know what he was before, but he's giving off a lot of Mojo Rawley vibes, as Brother Hugh would say in the group text. And I'm like, well, let me ask you, Keith, since you're a fan of this brother. I like Madcap. Don't get me wrong. Who he is, his gimmick and stuff like that is still undefined. I'm okay with that too. It's still a fresh face. But do you think he needs a little bit of a tune-up as far as his personality or his gimmick?
Not his gimmick. It's just the look.
Okay.
He don't. I would say take the ponytail away.
Sure.
Let his hair be down.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I will say I'd rather see him in pants for some reason, and not the shorts.
That's fair. Are you a gear? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I prefer the pants and also have his hair down.
Okay. Are you a gear person? Because I'm a gear person. Like I don't like Matt Riddle because I don't like his gear. I feel like if he came out like Shawn Michaels, I'd be a fan of Matt Riddle. Put on some pants, some cool like dirt bike looking boots or some gloves or some.
Yeah, put on some clothes. Yeah.
I'll be okay too. But
yeah, I am a gear person.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day
we cool on that. We cool on that.
Yeah. We can have a gear conversation at one point because I'm telling you, I've disowned people over gear. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna still have that conversation with you the way you yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, it's people on here. Make sure you subscribe to the Wrestle Realm and make sure you follow my dear co-host for today. One of my favorite ops, and make sure that you follow me, Dastardly Duo 3. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you follow Public Enemies Podcast.
My favorite Twitter account.
Don't gas them up because you're on my show.
Sorry, they just alone.
Make sure you follow them and y'all have a safe Monday. Graham, take me out. You know my clip.
You've mentioned a couple names recently. Who were they?
Listen, man. They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans.